Okay, today we pause amid the endless scroll of notifications, the constant pings, and the rush that fills modern life with noise. Picture a moment where the world slows, social media fades, and your mind meets silence not from duty, but as a quiet invitation. Here, desire tugs at attention, the pursuit of power shapes choices, and love, often tangled with expectation, feels both urgent and fragile. Welcome to Stoic Dhamma, a space where ancient wisdom meets today's challenges. Drawing from Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, we explore guidance for calm living amid emotional turbulence. Today, we reflect on desire, power, control, and love in the age of emotional detachment, uncovering how Stoic philosophy teaches steady awareness and inner freedom. Through mindful reflection and meditative storytelling, you'll learn to meet life fully, holding your mind steady even as the currents of modern existence pull relentlessly. From here, we begin to explore the first layer, desire, its grip on the soul, and the ways it shapes the life we often take for granted. From here, we turn to desire, an invisible current running through every human life, shaping thoughts, guiding choices, and whispering in quiet moments. Desire can energize and inspire, yet it can also bind and unsettle. It draws us toward what we imagine will bring satisfaction, wealth, recognition, comfort, or love. Yet desire can also pull us into restlessness, into a cycle of longing that never truly ends. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the mind can learn to observe desire, to understand it, and, when necessary, to release it, rather than allowing it to rule. Imagine starting each day with thoughts swirling in ambitions, cravings, and small urgencies. Comparison and longing for what you lack pull at your attention, shaping choices more than reason. Stoicism teaches that happiness is not in fulfilling every desire, but in discerning which serve you and which enslave you. Desire itself is neither good nor bad. Unexamined attachment binds the soul. Epictetus reminds us that chasing without awareness surrenders freedom. A longing for power or love can lead to pride or obsession, or to diligence and compassion. Clarity comes from discerning desires aligned with reason. Imagine standing at the edge of a forest, sunlight spilling through leaves. The path ahead tempts you with fruits of every kind. Some are sweet, some sour, some familiar, some unknown. Desire whispers to reach for each one. The Stoic mind steps forward deliberately, aware that not every fruit is nourishing. Wisdom lies in discerning which to embrace, which to leave, and which to transform into understanding. Consider the ancient markets of Rome, alive with merchants, coins, and spices. Citizens sought wealth, status, and favors, guided by cravings both subtle and grand. Stoicism offered perspective. The man who pursues wealth at the cost of virtue achieves little. True contentment lies not in material abundance, but in mastery over impulses. Seneca emphasizes that peace is shaped by the mind, not the marketplace. Desire unchecked exceeds the present, creating a chasm between what is and what is imagined. Yet desire also motivates creation. It inspires art, exploration, philosophy, and connection. Without it, there is no striving for knowledge, no courage to face challenges, no love to cultivate. Stoicism acknowledges this duality, not demanding suppression of longing, but guiding it toward disciplined intention. Desire for recognition, tempered by virtue, becomes commitment to meaningful work. Longing for connection, guided by wisdom, nurtures relationships without possessiveness. Pause and reflect on your own desires, which guide your choices silently, without examination, which push you toward anxiety or distraction. Daily mindfulness, a Stoic practice, invites noticing these currents without judgment. Epictetus teaches that you do not own the desires themselves, only your response to them. You can let them arise, observe them, and decide which to follow, release, or transform. Modern life amplifies this challenge. Social media presents endless images of what we do not have, sparking continual longing. Notifications whisper, Highlight reels suggest fulfillment lies elsewhere. Yet, by stepping back and cultivating awareness, you reclaim mental agency. The Stoic path distinguishes fleeting impulses from enduring reason. Picture stillness in your room at evening. The city hums outside. You feel the urge to check your phone or seek approval. Instead, you breathe, observe, and remind yourself, this desire is not the master of my peace. In this simple act, the grip of desire loosens. Calm returns to the mind, replacing restless pursuit. Desires for others' approval, love, recognition can create dependence, leaving us vulnerable to their unpredictability. Through reflection, these urges transform into compassionate intention, love without attachment, care without expectation, support without control. Seneca teaches that true wealth lies in enduring life with equanimity. Desire becomes a teacher, cultivating patience, resilience, and inner joy. Like choosing fruit on a forest path, we engage intentionally mindful, aware, savoring experience. Desire then guides rather than binds, allowing the Stoic to embrace life fully, remaining steady amidst its fleeting temptations. As the day unfolds, every choice whether to act or refrain is shaped by this awareness. Desire persists, but its grip loosens. Life's unease stems not from external events, but from unexamined cravings. The more you practice mindful reflection, the more natural it becomes to choose reason over impulse, virtue over immediate satisfaction. By evening, the mind rests not in indulgence, but in understanding. Desire is neither enemy nor master, but a mirror reflecting values and longings. To observe it without surrender is to reclaim the soul's freedom. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that it is not events, but our judgment of them, that disturbs us. Likewise, it is not desire itself, but our unthinking surrender to it, that creates unrest. In quiet reflection, each desire that arose is acknowledged and released. A subtle shift occurs, lightness, inner space where tension once existed. Desire remains, yet no longer carries you away. The Stoic path teaches that happiness lies not in fulfillment alone, but in mastery, the mindful steering of the soul through currents of want and need. Consider this. Are you guiding your desires, or are they guiding you? In the space between impulse and action lies freedom. Stoicism calls you to cultivate this space, meeting each desire with attention and reason, transforming potential chains into tools for growth, clarity, and calm. In the stillness of night, the hum of life lingers, reflecting choices and desires fulfilled or denied. It is here, observing the inner landscape, that the soul finds its calm. Desire remains, but its grip loosens. With each mindful breath, sovereignty is reclaimed. Desire is both challenge and opportunity, capable of clouding judgment or illuminating understanding. Through reflection, daily mindfulness, and Stoic teachings, you learn to walk alongside desire rather than be pulled by it. Stoicism offers a life not devoid of longing, but lived with mastery, equanimity, and freedom. At this reflection's close, desire is no longer a tyrant to conquer or prize to chase endlessly. It becomes a companion, teaching patience, awareness, and steadiness. Recognizing this is the first step toward true freedom, the freedom that arises not from having less, but from understanding, observing, and choosing the path reason dictates, guided by ancient wisdom. From here, we turn to power, a force that has shaped human history as profoundly as desire. In ancient Rome, in bustling forums and on expansive battlefields, power was often seen as the ultimate pursuit. Political influence, military might, wealth, and social status were measures of success, guiding lives and defining legacies. Yet Stoic philosophy offers a quiet, radical perspective. True power is not over others, but over oneself. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that external authority is fleeting, fragile, and dependent on factors beyond our control. Understanding this reveals the illusion at the heart of many struggles. Imagine standing on a hill, watching a city unfold below. Men and women move with purpose, striving for recognition, authority, or dominance. Their ambitions are visible, yet their power is only as real as their self-mastery. A governor commanding armies, a merchant amassing wealth, a senator addressing the forum, all subject to fortune, circumstance, and the unpredictability of others. Stoicism teaches that building security on external authority is building on shifting sand. True governance begins within, over thought, emotion, and action. Epictetus clarifies this distinction. Some things lie within our control, others do not. The behavior of others, the reactions of crowds, and fortune's swings are beyond command. But our judgments, choices, and attitudes remain fully ours. Seeking dominance externally invites frustration. Cultivating inner mastery creates enduring strength. A general facing a mutinous army or a ruler betrayed by advisors loses external power, yet retains inner resilience if disciplined and rational. Seneca adds that wealth and influence, if mismanaged, can enslave rather than free. The desire to control others fosters anxiety, suspicion, and moral compromise. By contrast, the person who governs themselves enjoys freedom and peace regardless of circumstance. Practically, this means turning inward, observing emotions, examining motivations, and responding with reason. Each moment of self-discipline strengthens autonomy, building a life resilient to fortune's unpredictability. Now picture a crowded marketplace, a microcosm of social power. Merchants shout, coins exchange hands, alliances form and dissolve. The untrained mind sees opportunity and threat in every interaction. A Stoic steps differently. They recognize the impermanence of outcomes and the limits of influence. Focus shifts from commanding others to maintaining composure, clarity, and integrity. The marketplace becomes a training ground, not a battlefield, a place to master self rather than control others. Modern life presents similar illusions. We arrange schedules, monitor social status, curate images of success, and attempt to predict the unpredictable. Technology amplifies the sense of control while intensifying anxiety. Stoicism remedies this by distinguishing what is ours to govern from what is not. External circumstances cannot always be managed, but our responses are always within reach. Consider leadership. Many equate it with authority over others, yet Stoic wisdom reframes it internally, guiding thoughts, acting with integrity, responding with equanimity. From this foundation, one may influence ethically, navigating social dynamics without losing inner freedom. Marcus Aurelius, despite immense external power, constantly reminded himself that disciplined inner life was his true strength. Power, misunderstood, becomes a chain. Desire to dominate binds the mind to vigilance, fear, and reactive behavior. Stoicism dismantles this gradually, revealing the transient nature of worldly influence. Authority is temporary, praise fleeting, possessions vanishing. What remains permanent is a trained mind, capable of facing fortune with grace. Even in personal relationships, the lesson persists. We cannot dictate others' actions or feelings. Attempts to control create tension and suffering. Stoicism invites care, empathy, and presence guided by reason, not control. Influence arises naturally through virtuous example. History reinforces this. External power fades. Self-mastery endures. Stoicism anchors ambitions in this truth. Authority over the mind is the only lasting power. Daily practice strengthens judgment, patience, and ethical clarity. Engaging fully with the world, while aware of limits, allows action aligned with reason, finding strength in self-mastery rather than domination. Modern parallels abound. In workplaces, hierarchies, social media, and political ambition promise influence but often deliver illusion. The Stoic remains centered, cultivating inner sovereignty. Daily choices reinforce resilience and ethical alignment. Power is not in imposing will on others, but in mastering thought, judgment, and action. By embracing this perspective, the pursuit of influence softens, replaced by wisdom, clarity, and virtue. The illusions of control fade, revealing a mind capable of navigating success and adversity with calm. Stoicism reframes responsibility. Mastery of self is the only secure foundation for action. True power is not measured by titles, armies, or possessions, but by the composure we maintain, the ethical choices we make, and the steadiness we exhibit amid life's shifting circumstances. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca all point to the same insight: the mind itself is the strongest fortress we can possess. External authority, whether social, political, or material, is fleeting, fragile, and often subject to forces beyond our control. To recognize this transience is to free oneself from the illusion that influence over others equates to true strength. When actions are guided by reason rather than fear, desire, or ego, one discovers a kind of authority that cannot be shaken. In the flow of modern life, this lesson becomes even more vital. Corporate hierarchies, social media metrics, and political ambition all promise power, yet they offer only the perception of control. Stoic practice, however, redirects focus inward, cultivating clarity, calm, and a form of freedom that cannot be taken away. While our ability to shape the behavior of others is limited, our capacity to govern our own mind, emotions, and responses is boundless. Internal discipline becomes the true measure of strength or resilience that remains steady through fortune's swings, chaos, and uncertainty, anchored in virtue rather than circumstance. By day's end, the illusions of control over others begin to fade. What remains is the quiet, enduring authority over thoughts, judgments, and actions. In this space, freedom is found. Stability takes root. Peace is cultivated. Mastery of self is a power no external circumstance can undo. Stoicism reminds us that in a world constantly chasing influence and dominance, the ultimate power is the mind directed by reason, a fortress that shelters, guides, and endures, no matter what tempest may arise. Love is as vital and profound as desire and power. Yet Stoic philosophy examines it with a clarity often overlooked today. Love can bring immense joy, but when entangled with attachment or expectation, it becomes a source of suffering. The Stoics did not deny love's beauty, but they warned against allowing emotions to dictate actions or disrupt inner balance. To love without attachment is to fully experience connection while maintaining mental freedom and calm. It is engaging in life's bonds without surrendering your sovereignty. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to reflect on the transient nature of relationships, encouraging love as a conscious choice, not a compulsive need. Imagine a day at work where your dedication to colleagues, projects, and professional goals runs deep. A task may falter, a partner may let you down, or recognition may not arrive as expected. Such moments naturally stir emotional turbulence. By practicing love without attachment, you learn to meet these challenges with composure. Your care and commitment remain intact, yet disappointment does not dominate your thoughts or actions. Professionalism and focus continue, even when circumstances test you. In this way, love transforms into an active, constructive force guiding your engagement with others and your work thoughtfully, intentionally, and without being hijacked by fleeting emotions or reactive impulses. This principle also applies to personal relationships. The instinct to possess or demand reciprocity often turns affection into suffering. Friendships and romantic bonds can feel threatening when attachment dominates. Stoicism suggests presence, acceptance, and reason instead. You can cherish someone deeply while recognizing that their actions, feelings, and choices are beyond your control. Love does not require ownership, nor must the other person meet your expectations. It becomes a tend of generosity, an expression of virtue rather than need. Inner awareness extends to self-love. To live fully, we must accept ourselves unconditionally, not contingent on success, appearance, or approval. Stoics encourage observing your inner world without harsh judgment, meeting strengths and flaws with equanimity. Journaling, reflecting on emotional reactions, and noting impulses without acting on them are practical ways to disentangle attachment from love. These exercises create space between reaction and reflection, allowing conscious engagement with emotion. A central Stoic practice is amor fati, the love of one's fate. This applies to love itself. Relationships evolve, people change, and circumstances shift. Embracing impermanence fosters gratitude for the present, recognizing each interaction as unique. By accepting change, love becomes a mindful engagement rather than a source of suffering. Notice a partner's smile, a friend's kindness, or a colleague's insight. Each moment holds value, independent of outcomes. Mindfulness teaches us to inhabit these experiences fully, observing the pleasure without binding our peace to them. Joy remains genuine, while stability is preserved. Love is freed from dependency, becoming a deliberate, virtuous engagement. Disappointment offers further insight. When a loved one acts unpredictably, emotional pain arises. Labeling it as betrayal or loss is instinctive, yet detachment and awareness allow equanimity. We see others as they are, not as idealized projections of desire. Compassion replaces frustration, understanding replaces resentment, and freedom replaces clinging. Love becomes conscious, exercised with patience and clarity. Daily habits reinforce this mindset. Journaling clarifies emotional patterns, distinguishing attachment from true affection. Mindfulness cultivates presence, creating a buffer between stimulus and reaction. Reflecting on impermanence strengthens the mind's capacity to meet love without being consumed. These practices turn love from vulnerability into a tool for personal growth and connection. Imagine a tree in your yard. Its leaves change with the seasons, yet your appreciation remains constant. Relationships, like the tree, are impermanent. Internalizing this, you learn to love fully without clinging, engaging while preserving inner freedom. Stoicism also emphasizes interdependence. Loving without attachment is not indifference. It fosters empathy and ethical engagement. Removing selfish expectation opens space for genuine care. The mind remains calm, the heart generous, and actions deliberate. You support others without losing yourself, honoring both your boundaries and theirs. In tension or conflict, this approach proves invaluable. Disagreements can fuel anger when attachment drives reaction. Stoic detachment allows thoughtful response, guided by reason rather than impulse. Love stabilizes rather than triggers turmoil. Observing impulses to control or cling enables measured, virtuous action. Relationships become steady, authentic, and trustful. Amor fati further guides self-reflection. Each loss, disappointment, or unmet expectation is an opportunity to build resilience and understanding. Embracing life's natural course, including relationships, strengthens inner calm. Attachment loosens, compassion deepens, and love becomes a deliberate, virtuous practice. This approach also addresses desires for recognition or approval. Seeking validation through affection entangles us in anxiety. Detachment redirects focus inward, cultivating self-acceptance. Self-love, independent of external affirmation, forms the foundation for authentic engagement with others. Integrating these practices gradually transforms experience. Emotional turbulence diminishes, and relationships shift from ownership to shared presence. Awareness replaces anxiety, appreciation replaces expectation, and patience replaces impulsivity. Love, freed from attachment, becomes stable, enduring, and reflective of virtue and wisdom. Even ordinary moments offer opportunities for practice. A conversation, a kind gesture, or shared silence becomes a chance to exercise non-attached love. Impulses to control or possess are observed and replaced with compassion and equanimity. The mind remains calm, the heart open, and connection deepens. Ultimately, Stoicism teaches that love is engagement, not possession. It is a conscious choice to cherish, support, and care without demanding reciprocity or permanence. Inner freedom is preserved while enriching others' lives. Each act of non-attached love strengthens resilience, nurtures empathy, and cultivates enduring peace. By reflecting each day on moments where attachment influenced our feelings and where conscious, mindful love guided our actions, we gradually strengthen the ability to love without becoming entangled. Stoic practice teaches that impermanence is inherent, emotions are fleeting, and true freedom arises through deliberate awareness. Through journaling, mindfulness, and the practice of a more loving one's fate, we approach relationships with calm insight and clarity. In this way, love shifts from a source of vulnerability to a tool for personal growth, empathy, and connection. The Stoic mind engages life fully, experiencing love deeply while remaining free, centered, and open-hearted. We now turn to the final Stoic lesson, freedom through letting go. Across desire, power, and love, Stoics teach that true liberation comes not from acquiring more, but from releasing attachment. Blind craving, the illusion of control, and possessive love create chains around the mind. By consciously letting go, relinquishing compulsive pursuit, the need to dominate, and attachment in relationships, the soul finds its natural state, calm, resilient, and unshaken, embracing life with clarity and inner freedom. Consider the countless moments in modern life when true freedom is tested. Social media constantly tempts us with images of what others possess, highlighting what we lack and stirring desire. Corporate hierarchies lure with status, recognition, and influence. Personal relationships evoke longing, jealousy, and expectation. At every turn, the mind can become a battlefield, pulled in multiple directions by invisible strings of attachment. Stoicism offers a radical alternative: step back, observe, and disentangle. Much of this turbulence arises not from events themselves, but from the mind's compulsive attachment to outcomes. By releasing these chains, we move toward intentional choice rather than reactive struggle. Letting go does not mean retreat or passivity. It does not require abandoning work, engagement, or care. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while practicing detachment. His freedom lay in mastering his internal response. Epictetus teaches that the mind is sovereign when it governs itself. In modern terms, freedom through letting go is the discipline of directing energy toward what is within your control: thoughts, decisions, and actions, allowing the unpredictable and impermanent external world to pass without disturbance. Consider desire first. By examining which wants serve reason and which enslave, we learn to release the compulsion to chase endlessly. Each unfulfilled longing becomes an opportunity to practice equanimity. Freed from the constant pull of craving, we gain clarity and presence, noticing the world as it is rather than through the lens of imagined necessity. Power, too, yields to this insight. The illusion of control over colleagues, circumstances, or the lives of loved ones often breeds anxiety, frustration, and fear. Recognizing the limits of influence and investing effort instead in mastery over oneself cultivates resilience and peace. The energy previously wasted on dominion is redirected into mindful, ethical action. Love, the final domain, transforms as well. By detaching from possession, expectation, and coercion, relationships become a space of genuine connection, generosity, and understanding. One loves without losing self, supports without demanding reciprocity, and engages fully without surrendering sovereignty. Daily practices reinforce this path. Journaling captures emotional patterns, revealing where attachment lingers and guiding conscious release. Mindfulness draws attention to fleeting impulses, allowing reflection before reaction. Amor fati, the love of one's fate, encourages acceptance of change and impermanence, transforming disappointment into understanding and loss into insight. These habits are not theoretical, they are applied wisdom, tools to navigate the ceaseless currents of modern life with equanimity. Through consistent practice, the mind becomes less reactive, the heart less burdened, and the spirit more expansive. Now picture a moment of quiet at day's end. The world continues outside: emails, notifications, news feeds, but, within, there is calm. You have encountered desires, exercised restraint, engaged ethically, and loved without attachment. In releasing the need for control, the mind rests in freedom. What remains is not emptiness, but a profound capacity to act with clarity, compassion, and reason. You have not abandoned life, you have embraced it fully, unencumbered by invisible chains. Stoicism reminds us that true engagement does not require domination or attachment. It requires presence, discernment, and self-mastery. This principle extends naturally to the challenges of contemporary society. The modern world is saturated with stimuli, each competing for attention and promising fulfillment. Consumerism, social media, and cultural pressures all amplify desire and attachment. The Stoic path becomes increasingly vital. In a society of endless enticements, the discipline of letting go is the key to maintaining mental clarity and inner freedom. By focusing on what truly matters, reasoned action, virtuous living, and mindful engagement, we navigate life without being enslaved by its distractions. Our sovereignty lies not in external achievement, but in the measured, conscious use of thought and choice. Reflection deepens understanding. Ask yourself, which pursuits are truly within your control, and which are illusions of necessity? Which emotions arise from your own judgments, and which from attachment to people, outcomes, or possessions? By contemplating these questions daily, you begin to notice the subtle chains that bind the mind. Letting go is not a single act, but an ongoing practice, cultivated through observation, reflection, and disciplined choice. Each time you release an unhelpful desire, relinquish an illusion of power, or detach from possessive love, freedom grows, reason strengthens, and resilience deepens. Letting go also reshapes how we view failure and disappointment. Stoicism teaches that setbacks are not threats, but opportunities for growth. When goals are unmet, relationships change, or circumstances shift, the unshaken mind sees these events as part of life's natural order. Emotional suffering diminishes, not because challenges vanish, but because attachment loosens. Ultimately, life is to be lived fully yet lightly, aware of impermanence and the limits of control. Each act of letting go affirms autonomy, nurtures wisdom, and cultivates enduring peace of freedom forged through mindful engagement rather than avoidance. As you reflect on your own journey, the invitation remains open. Modern life constantly tempts us with attachments, distractions, and illusions of control. Each person must examine their desires, ambitions, and relationships to discern where letting go brings clarity. Stoicism offers guidance, but the path is personal. Cultivating inner freedom is a lifelong practice, requiring patience, mindfulness, and courage. Through this practice, one discovers a steady mind amid change, an open yet unbound heart, and a life fully engaged yet unenslaved. True freedom, the Stoics teach, is found not in accumulation or conquest, but in deliberate release. Letting go of blind desire, illusory power, and clinging attachment uncovers the mind's sovereignty. Life is embraced with equanimity, reason, and virtue. In the modern world, this approach is urgent, offering enduring peace and clarity not through external control, but through mastery of self and conscious living. As we conclude this journey through desire, power, and love, remember that true freedom is cultivated within. Stoicism does not promise a life without challenges, but it offers a compass, the mastery of thought, the discernment of attachment, and the embrace of impermanence. By practicing letting go of compulsive wants, illusions of control, and clinging affection, we step into a life of clarity, calm, and conscious engagement. Each reflection, each mindful choice, is a small act of liberation, allowing the mind to navigate modern life with resilience and purpose. If this exploration resonated, take a moment to reflect. Where are you holding on too tightly? Where might letting go reveal inner freedom? Leave a comment sharing your insights or experiences. Subscribe to continue this path of Stoic wisdom, and stay tuned for our next video, Finding Happiness and the Secret to a Good Flow of Life, where we explore practical steps to align daily actions with enduring contentment.
References 1. Aurelius M. 2006. Meditations. Penguin Classics. Point 2. Epictetus. 1995, Enchiridion. Hackett Publishing. Point 3. Seneca, L.A., 2004. Letters from a Stoic. Penguin Classics.